At the New Jersey SBDC Network, our mission is simple: to help businesses grow and succeed. Our consulting, training, and information services make it easier for businesses to reach their potential. Whether you're currently in operation or just starting out, we have the right tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. Visit us online to get started on your path to success today.
A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. My name is Takoa Bell. I am an event coordinator for the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark. And on behalf of Dr. Tendai Nduro, our regional director, I would like to welcome you all to our Marketing 101 Cutting Through the Confusion webinar. For those of you here that may be unfamiliar with the SBDC, it stands for Small Business Development Centers. And here at the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers at Rutgers-Newark, we serve as the premier provider of business training and technical assistance services to establish small businesses, startups, and as well as to entrepreneurs. We are one of 12 centers in the NJSBDC network, and we service those in Essex County. Our center is hosted by the Rutgers Business School and funded through a partnership agreement between the Small Business Administration, Rutgers University, and the New Jersey Business Action Center. Our mission here is to help entrepreneurs as well as business owners start and grow sustainable, successful businesses through the delivery of one-on-one business consulting, training, and technical assistance programs. Now, all these services are provided to you at no cost and are paid for by your tax dollars. If you or your business is located in Essex County, our website is www.rnsbdc.com. And on the top right-hand corner of our site, we have a red button labeled Request Counseling. So once you click on that button, it will lead you to fill out some information about your business or your business idea, including the help you're looking for. And within 24 to 48 business hours, one of our consultants will reach out to you for an assessment. And for those of you here that may not be in Essex County, our headquarters website is njsbdc.com. And on that website, you can go ahead and type in your county and it will refer you to your local SBDC office. For the benefit of everyone attending today's webinar, we will be taking questions via the chat and the Q&A feature here on Zoom. So please feel free to ask and post your questions, and we will do our best to respond during or at the end of today's webinar. A copy of the presentation slides along with a video recording of this webinar will be emailed to you within 48 to 72 business hours so that you can refer to all of this information long after the webinar has ended. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you all our presenter for today's webinar, Holly Kaplansky. Holly is the president and founder of Red Wagon Consulting and is an SBDC consultant here at the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark in the areas of marketing, brand development, and advertising. And now, without further ado, I will turn today's webinar over to Holly.
Thank you so much, Takoa. I appreciate it. I presume you can all hear me. Great. Okay, it's a pleasure to be here today, and I want to commend Takoa and Dr. Tendai Nduro and Priscilla for the amazing work they do in helping small businesses. So I'm going to share my screen now. Oops, thank you. Let's see. Okie dokie, great. So this is Marketing 101, Cutting Through the Confusion. And as Takoa said, I'm Holly Kaplansky. It's a pleasure to be here today. Okay, let's go down. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about me so you just have context around what I'll be speaking about. So I have about 30 years of corporate experience in marketing and branding for companies like Kraft Foods, and I worked for an international clinical software company called Ovid. I had offices in Boston, London, New York. I worked for Raspberry, which is a licensee of the plush animals, you know, toys, stuffed toys. Again, all in marketing. After that, I owned a printing company for 15 years in downtown Newark. It was a Minuteman Press. And I like to use Minuteman Press as an example. So I'll be talking about it a lot because it's very easy to give you examples of things and experiences that I've had through my printing company. So that's some of the breadth and depth of the experience that I have, and I hope that I can bring this experience to you today to help you with your businesses. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to be talking about marketing and branding. A lot of people have confusion around marketing, not sure exactly what it is, what they should be doing. I'm going to try and help you with that today. And I'm going to do that by going through the marketing toolbox. We're going to talk about your target market, which is really important. Once you figure out your target market, there's lots of different tools in the marketing toolbox that you can use. And we'll go through each one so you have a better understanding of them. We're going to talk a little bit about a budget. Budget is a big, scary word to most people, but I'm going to try and simplify it for you. And I'm going to work with you on a basic marketing plan that will make it easy for you to figure out what kind of marketing you want to do for a full year. And we'll cover a couple of other extras after that. So marketing. What is marketing? Marketing is the action or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. Okay, promoting and selling your products and services. So you really have to do marketing to be able to grow your business. Marketing is the way you get word out about your business. It's the way that you create a demand for your product and your service. And it's the way that you grow your business through marketing. Many new business owners don't understand that they're in the marketing department, whether they planned on it or not. But if you own your own business, you are automatically in the marketing and sales department. Okay? And the difference between marketing and sales, marketing is presenting your product to a whole bunch of people, introducing it to them, okay? Getting them to know you are out there and that you exist. And sales is a one-on-one. After marketing, then you can do your sales and you're selling your product, okay? I'm going to talk about this a lot throughout the next hour or so, and that's to focus on the customer, not you. Marketing is all about meeting your customer demand, right? Solving your customer problems. People talk about that a lot as well. It's about them, not you. So if you're going to be doing marketing, you're going to be doing sales, and you're going to go on a sales call and talk all about yourself, it's not going to be as effective as focusing on the customer. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Now, branding. Branding is a part of marketing, okay? It's about defining what your business is and why it is different, okay? Not just how it looks. Most people think about branding, the logo, the colors. That's a piece of it, but it's only a piece. Branding is bigger than that, and it requires you to really think about your business, what you want to do, who you want to reach, what is different about you than your other competition. It involves a USP, a unique sales proposition, right? What makes you unique? What makes you different than all your competition? That requires some soul searching and some real thought about how you can make yourself unique. Market research helps in that piece. A lot of people think about market research, a lot of people sitting around a table giving their opinions, or maybe it's a big survey online. It doesn't have to be that. I'm a big proponent of doing things easy, keeping it simple. And what I like to suggest on market research is that you talk to your customers, your current customers, and people that you know, your business associates, your friends, your family, about what makes you different. Okay, I like to tell people to take some quiet time, get a pad, get a pen, and just think about what they want to accomplish in their business. What is their business all about? Why are they doing it, right? And what makes them different? Now, branding must be consistent to be effective. You can't just do red today and blue tomorrow. You really have to keep your colors consistent, your logo consistent. You can't be continually changing it up, all right? Again, when you see a Nike logo or a Coca-Cola can, it's always gonna look the same. They're not changing it all around. Coca-Cola red is always a very, very specific red, and they stick to that red. They're not gonna do a Coca-Cola can with blue unless it's some special event that they're involved in, right? Consistent, always the same. Another part of your branding is your brand positioning, how you position yourself, right? There are 3 elements to brand positioning. You can have 1, you can have 2, but you can't do all 3 or you will go out of business. You can't do all of these things at the same time. So let's give you some examples. The 3 different positions that you can use for your brand, right? How you position your brand are going to be quality, price, and service, okay? You can do 1, 2, but you can't do all 3. Now let's go through them, and I think you'll understand it better. Let's talk a little about quality. I'll give you some examples of brands that position themselves as high quality. Mercedes is one, for sure, right? High quality, top of the line. You're going to get treated a certain way. Your car is going to be just a certain thing when you buy a Mercedes. It's top quality. You know it. Everybody knows it. Apple has really positioned themselves as a very high quality brand. Easy to use. You're going to be able to use it right out of the box. It's going to work every time. That's how they position themselves. Better than their competition, right? About the competition. I put Dell computers up here for an interesting reason. Dell computers used to be known as high quality. But now, I don't know, is Dell any better than an HP? I don't know. I think that they need to work on their branding to position themselves differently than their competitors. Because right now, for me, Dell is just another computer. So they have some work to do, and I'm not quite sure they belong on that list. Now let's talk about brands that position themselves on price, right? Something like Hyundai, which is a great car. It'll go for 200,000 miles. Great car, but it's a less expensive car. You're not going to get the same kind of service with your Hyundai or your Kia or your Toyota as you would with a Mercedes. It's a different experience, okay? But you're going to get a better price. You're not going to pay the same thing, and that's okay. Marshalls positions themselves totally on price. You're going to go into Marshalls. There's racks and racks and racks of stuff. You're going to find the brand, the one thing that you want at a much less price than you could get it in any of the other stores. Okay. Vistaprint. I'm going to bring in my printing background. Vistaprint is an online printing company, all about price. You can go to Vistaprint online. You can order your business cards, your letterhead, your brochures. Going to be cheap, going to be much less expensive than you could get at your local printer. But there's no customer service. There's nobody there to help you, right? If you get your business cards and they're not the right color or they're off center, it's going to be really hard getting them fixed, okay? Because they're all about price. And when you position yourself on price, you often don't have service. Number 3. Let's talk about service. Brands that position themselves on service primarily are something like Ritz-Carlton, really fancy 5-star hotel chain. You're going to have service unbelievable. Mercedes, you'll notice that they position themselves on quality and service. So they're doing 2 of the 3, right? You go in for service to a Mercedes, they're going to have a really nice place for you to sit. They're going to have coffee. It's going to be a great atmosphere. They're going to take good care of you. Maybe they'll pick you up and drop you off, right? Excellent service. Amazon has totally positioned themselves on service. You get your stuff the next day. It's crazy almost, right? Who would think? I mean, when I first, years ago heard of Amazon, I'm like, they can't do that. I'm never going to get it the next day. And sure enough, you do. And not only that, they've taken it to the next level. Returns are so easy. Lots of times I buy from Amazon, not only because I get it the next day, but it's so easy to return it if I don't like it. Purely based on service. Price is secondary there. Usually Amazon has the best prices, but not always. But they're really positioning themselves on the service, okay? So as you're developing your brand, your business, think about where you want to be. And don't try and do everything. You will go out of business if you give the best quality, the lowest price, and the best service. Can't do it. Can't be done. Now, let's talk about target market. This is super important. When you're thinking about what your brand should be, you need to think about who you're going to market to and be specific, right? Not everyone is going to be your customer. When I first got into my printing business, I thought to myself, if you're breathing, you're my customer. There you go, customer, ooh, a customer. But it's really not true. You really have to narrow it down and go after your very best target market in the beginning, okay? The market research you'll do is helpful here. Talk to your friends, talk to business associates, see what they think is important out there, see what they think you can bring to the party, and talk to potential customers. What do they want, right? It's not about what you are going to give them, it's about what they want to buy, right? And you can develop groups of target markets, right? So it doesn't all have to be one. I do suggest in a new business, you start off focusing on one, but you might be targeting large businesses, corporations, and at the same time, smaller businesses. And that's okay. And how you talk to them is going to be different based on what business they are. So tailor your message to your audience. If you're going into a big pharmaceutical company, Novartis, Johnson & Johnson, you're not going to talk to them and present yourselves the same way you would. You're not going to give the same sales pitch that you would for a smaller company, right? When I first did a presentation for Novartis, I thought, oh, I'll tell a joke. I'll tell a joke. That's a good thing to do, soften them up, right? Everybody likes a good joke. It really wasn't the audience for that. And I learned over time that you have to be very quick in corporations. You have to get to the point. They don't have a lot of time and they don't want fooling around. Get to the point, okay? But if you're going into a different type of a group of smaller businesses, you have a lot more leeway. So target your message to your audience. Now we're going to get to all the different tools in the marketing toolbox. Okay, there's lots and lots and lots of tools. There's lots of different ways to market your business. You don't have to do all of them. I'm going to go through a lot of them today, okay? Pick 2 or 3 and stick to them, okay? If they're not working, move on, try something else, right? Just pick 2 or 3, or even 1 to start. You're better off doing 1 or 2 well than doing 4 or 5 poorly, okay? They don't work, move on to something else. It's great if you can analyze the results. Certain types of marketing are very easy to analyze. Social media, for instance, you can really tell what's going on. You can see how many hits you get. You can see what the reactions are. You can see when people go to your website, where they're going. Other types of marketing are a little bit harder to measure, okay? If you don't know how to do it, get professional help. Get somebody to help you. There's lots of people out there. Sometimes it's not even expensive, but we all can't do everything all the time. I have a marketing background, and when I owned my printing business, I hired people to do my marketing because I couldn't do everything. I knew I wouldn't be able to do it all. I didn't have the time. So I hired people to help me, and I gave them direction, and they did it for me, and we were able to work on it together. And it's very, very useful to have another set of eyes as well. Okay. So the tools in your marketing toolbox that we're going to talk about today, okay? Website, very, very, very important. Don't ignore your website. Social media, email is a great tool. Direct mail, that's something people don't pay enough attention to, especially now. PR, public relations, right? Getting advertising articles into magazines or online publications. Telemarketing and cold calling, that's a tough one. Advertising, we're going to talk about trade shows and events, guerrilla marketing, and networking in bold, because networking is my favorite. So let's move on. Oh, a couple of things before we get into the tools, okay? 2 things I want to talk about. No matter which tool you're using, okay? You need to be able to write good copy. It can be for social media, might be for a brochure, it might be on your website, right? It might be for an advertisement. Okay, let's talk about copy for a minute, right? Copy the words that you put into whatever it is you're working on, okay? Keep it simple. It doesn't have to be long and complicated. Less can be more, right? Keep it simple. Personally, I don't have a lot of time to read a lot of stuff. When I get to a website and it's paragraphs and paragraphs of information, I'm gone. I just don't have the patience. I don't have the time. Bullets are really helpful for that kind of thing. Make sure that you keep it benefit driven, okay? Put your benefits up front on your, wherever you are, whether it's the front of your brochure or your web page, keep your benefits up front. Again, we're talking about what's in it for them, not all about you, right? So all your great experience and all the wonderful things that you've done are terrific, but I'm not so sure that they're interesting to your potential customer. Your potential customer wants to hear quickly, simply, and easily how you're going to help them, right? That's benefit driven. Talk like your audience talks, right? I gave you the example of when I went into a large pharma. I did marketing for a clinical software company, and I was talking to clinicians, doctors, scientists. The language that I used was very, very different than when I was selling coffee at Kraft Foods. Very, very different. Talking to professors, scientists, clinicians, doctors, you know, it wasn't a lot of like free, try this up front kind of stuff. It was very, very simple, very, very direct, very straightforward, and we used scientific language to talk to them. But don't talk down to anyone. Keep it simple, but don't talk down, make it clear. And please use the typo police. Typo police, get somebody to proof your copy for you, okay? It's awful when you put all of this energy and effort into printing up all these beautiful brochures to give out, and then you find out right on the cover there's a typo. It's very, very hard to proofread your own stuff. Get somebody to do it. Pull in a family member, pull in a friend. When you're proofreading copy, read it backwards, okay? Not at the beginning to the end. Start at the end and go backwards. You will focus less on the message and more on the spelling in the words. But get somebody to help you with that. It's very easy to put a typo in something and it's bad news. Let's talk about the graphics for a minute, right? Those are the two pieces that go together when you're doing your marketing. You've got the copy, which are the words, and you've got the graphics. How's it gonna look? Again, keep it simple, okay? Simple. I owned a printing company. I had 3 graphic designers working for me. And whenever I would interview someone for that position, they would come in with this big portfolio. They'd put it on my desk, unzip it seriously, open it up, and show me all their artwork. And more often than not, it was super busy. There were boxes and shadows and different colors and all kinds of graphic elements going on, and I couldn't tell what the product was. It was secondary to the design. That's a huge, huge mistake, okay? Keep it simple. Make sure that the design doesn't overpower the message. That is the #1 mistake that I always, always see in graphic design, because designers like stuff to look really pretty, and they use a lot of different stuff, and they can often make it too busy and the message gets lost, okay? So keep it simple. Also work with your branding colors in your scheme. If your branding colors are blue, you don't want to bring in a lot of contrasting colors to that. Okay, you can actually go online and Google complementary colors. So if your branding, right, your logo is blue, you can go online, Google complementary colors to blue, and it will tell you what are good colors to use that don't overshadow your branding color. But it's really important. Again, be consistent with your brand, stick with your colors, stick with your scheme, don't be changing up your logo all the time. Okay. Now, let's go to the tools. #1, your website. And it is definitely #1. It's the most important thing. You have to have one before you can do business. I was talking with somebody about this yesterday. Really, really important, because once you start marketing your business, people are going to go to your website to make sure you're real, to look at you. I mean, whenever I'm looking at a business, I meet somebody, I go to their website. What do they say? What do they talk about? You know, what's their business like? And if they don't have a website, I'm like, ooh, are they a real business? Do they really exist? What's up with that? right? So you have to have a website before you can do business. And make sure it talks about your customers' needs, your customers' benefits, what's in it for them. WIFT, what's in it for them, not all about you. I can't tell you how often I go to a homepage of a website and it goes on and on about the person and what they've done and all the great business they've had and what experts they are. That's not what you want on your homepage. You want to simply, clearly, and concisely get across the benefits of doing business with you, okay? And think about your three areas, your three elements of positioning. Are you less expensive, right? A great deal, good value? Are you outstanding customer service, right? You can talk to me 24 hours a day, right? Or you've got the best employees in the whole entire world. Or is your quality so superior, right? Think about your brand positioning that we talked about and make sure it's clear and upfront. What can you do for them, okay? Now, a lot of people work on their websites and it takes on a life of its own. Your website should have at least 3 pages. And really, to start, that's all you need. You have to have these 3 pages, all right? So just focus on them. Your home page, again, that's with your benefits, right? What's in it for your customers? How doing business with you is going to help them, right? Then you have your about page. That's where you can talk about all your experience, all the great things you've done, all your great customers, all that stuff, right? And then, of course, a contact page. How do they get a hold of you? How do they talk to you? Now, start with those 3 pages, focus on them, make sure they're good, make sure they're simple, concise, get the message across, have other people look at them, give you feedback. Then you can always add pages later on. But you really need to make sure these 3 pages are set and ready to go. And that's really all you need to start. I've seen very simple websites that were super impressive with just those 3 pages. Okie dokie. Now, social media. Social media is a big deal. You all know it, right? It's a whole class unto itself. And it is. And you can certainly take classes on how to do social media, what social media is all about, through the Rutgers SBDC. They have some amazingly excellent webinars all about social media. What to do it, how to read it, what the metrics are. I encourage everybody, if you haven't taken a webinar on social media through the SBDC, by all means, you should do it. I will put that website up in a bit. Pick your spots. You don't have to be everywhere. Figure out where you're going to be most impactful. If you're working with someone, they can be very, very helpful on how to target market, right? How to reach your target market in social media. Right? So Facebook is a certain age group. It's a certain demographic. It's a certain target market. LinkedIn is different. It's businesses. What you do on LinkedIn is going to be different than what you do on Facebook. Sometimes you can do the same thing on both, but more often than not, they're different market segments and you're going to talk to them differently. Okay? And you might have different landing pages for different market segments. Okay, that would be pages that you add to your website. So if you have a social media campaign on LinkedIn that's targeting pharmaceuticals, the link would go right to a certain page that you've set up just for them, that talks to them a certain way, talks about the benefits a certain way. But if you're doing a social media campaign, talking to small businesses, your landing page would be different for that. So you can certainly target market through social media. It's really very, very effective. Social media is all about content, okay? You want to make your message interesting and informational, right? You want them to read it. I know lots of people who post pictures of their food all the time. And if they're a restaurant, that's very appropriate. If not, I'm like, wow, is that all you do is eat? I'm like, wow. So make your message interesting, give them information, right? You can, I'll talk about blogs in a little bit. It's great to have links to blogs. It's great to have links to your website, and it's great to give them good information, right? And again, linking, you can do stuff in social media that links them to any specific page you want on your website. And they also help Search engine optimization. So a lot of linking back and forth, and people who go from social media to your webpage will help your ranking. So when people Google you and search for you, you can come up higher. It's an important tool, search engine optimization. Tool number 3 is going to be email. Great tool. You need to have a database. So you should start building your database. It can be very simple. It can be just an Excel spreadsheet, no problem, where you just put the name of the business, their address, right, telephone number and email address. And you can build your database with just from people you meet. You can collect emails from your website on your contact page. You can ask them for their email address, right? You can get people to give you their email address by blogs and signing up for your blogs. And then you use all these email addresses to do an email campaign. And a blog is a great way to do that. Blogs are the gift that keep on giving. You can, once you write your blog, you put it on your website, you do a social media campaign with the blog, and you can also email it out to your customers. But to really do this, you need to start building your database. And when you do have a database and you're sending emails out, don't do it too often, right? People will unsubscribe if it starts to become annoying, and you want to make sure they're informational, not salesy, right? Anybody sends me sales emails, I unsubscribe. They have to have the ability to unsubscribe. If you're using a professional or constant contact type of an email server software package, they will have that all built in. So you just really want to make sure that they have the ability to unsubscribe. And it may be as simple as replying to your email and saying unsubscribe. But ethically, legally, you need to be able to do that. They need to be able to unsubscribe. And again, make your email informational, not salesy. Okay, you want to drive them to your website. Okay. Direct mail. Direct mail is great now. I don't know about you guys, but since the pandemic, I get very little in the mail. I get a couple of bills, and that's about it. I used to get a lot of mail, and not so much. So that's an opportunity. Okay, you need to have your database. Remember, you're building your database. You're collecting cards from everybody that you meet. You're getting names and addresses off your website. You're building your database. And you can rent names as well. There's lots of databases out there that you can get very, very specific about who you want to talk to. Maybe it's doctors, maybe it's lawyers, maybe it's professionals, maybe it's small businesses, maybe it's big businesses. You can get very specific and rent a database to mail to. So it's often overlooked, but it's very effective if done right. There is a misconception about direct mail that the biggest cost is the printing. Speaking as a former printer, I will dispel that myth. The biggest cost is actually postage, and there's not that much flexibility there, right? A 4x6 postcard, small little postcard, is lower cost. It's got a very special rate that's pretty low cost, and it's an effective way to get your message out there. As I said, targeting is very efficient. You can absolutely pick who you want to talk to. CEOs of pharmaceutical companies, you can really, really get specific. And it's very measurable. You can send out direct mail. You can put a code in there. You can give an offer. An offer is usually an important thing for direct mail. So, 20% off. If you answer this week, they can call you, they can email you, they can go onto your website and order directly. It can be very measurable. And it also can be simple. People think of direct mail as these big campaigns. I'm going to mail 10,000 names and all that. It doesn't have to be that at all. It can be very, very simple. It can be as simple as writing a letter, right? You get on your computer, do a little letter, print it out on nice stationery, hand sign it, put it in an envelope with your business card, and send it to your target market. It's very, very effective. You can even put, if you have like trinkets, promotional products, pens with the name of your company on it, drop a pen in the envelope. It doesn't cost any more. And it's something that they can keep and have on their desk and see. Promotional products are very, very effective marketing tool. Or you can send a little card, you can have little cards made up with your logo on the front, and handwrite a little note to somebody. I'd love to meet you. Hoping we can get together, and then you follow up with a phone call. Can be very, very effective way to market your business. Sort of introduces you. EDDM. EDDM stands for Every Door Direct Mail. It is a special program offered by the post office, and it's a lower cost way to do direct mail. Remember, I said that the most expensive thing in doing direct mail is the postage. So if you can get the postage down, that's a big savings. But it's a different way of doing it. Rather than individual addresses, right? Joe Smith, 123 Main Street, right? CEO of pharmaceutical company. It doesn't work that way. It's not targeted like that. You are targeting by geography. Okay, so rather than an individual address, the postal carrier drops one at every address on his route. So you really can't target specific businesses, but if you're like a restaurant, that's great if you want to get advertising out and marketing out to local businesses in your zip code. Okay, so anybody who's looking to do business locally, that's a great, great way to do it. And you would talk to your printer about it. Whoever's going to print up whatever it is you're doing will know how to do EDDM and will walk you through how to do it. Okay, there's very specific size limitations and specific ways that it has to be mailed to make sure that it works appropriately. But it can be really, really effective if you just want to reach a specific geographic area. You have a little boutique in Millburn and you want to reach just the people who live in Millburn to come to your store. Very effective way to do it. Public relations, okay? That's where you can reach out to your local media, right? It's very, very, very difficult to get on, a morning news show or The View or something like that, right? It's really for businesses like us, we're going to want to go local. And local media are always looking for information that they can publish. They're looking for content. So if you live in Newark, you would want to reach out to your local Newark media. Or if you live in Montclair, you can contact things like BaristaNet. That's an online media. And if you have something of information, some interesting information, or a specific event, they will publish it for you. You just have to figure out who your local media is. They're all about that because they need something to put into their media. They need information and they need content. So it's a good way to go. It's great for a community builder. Again, it's localized. You want to be active in your community. That's a great way to do it. It gets your name out. It's usually low cost unless you're hiring somebody to do it for you. And it often can be free, in fact, but it's time consuming. You have to put together an article, right? You have to write what you want to get into the local media. And then you have to start calling your local media people, tell them what's going on. Sometimes you don't have to write it. Sometimes they'll write it for you, but you still have to get your information together. You still have to have your thoughts in a way that they can write it for you. Okay, but it's an interesting thing to think about, especially if you have a strong local media, a strong local newspaper, or an online media like BaristaNet. Okay, now we're into tool number 6, telemarketing and cold calling. It's still today, actually, cold calling makes me shake. It's a tough thing to do, right? But it can be very, very effective. And as business owners and the head of our marketing department and sales department, it's an important thing to think about doing, right? It can be very effective because it's very targeted. You can get to the person you want to talk to. Okay, don't go for the sale. I'm going to talk about this a lot. I don't know about you, but when people call me or set up a meeting with me and they immediately start to sell, I get turned off, right? You want to develop the relationship with them. Then they'll buy from you, right? Everybody does business with people they know and like. So you want them to get to know you and you want them to like you. And the easiest way to do that is let them talk. Let them do the talking. Ask a couple of questions. Let them talk, let them talk, let them talk. When they walk out of a meeting where they've done 90% of the talking, they're going to say to themselves, oh, that was a good meeting, because everybody likes to talk about themselves. Let them talk away. And of course, get in wherever you can a little bit about yourself, but you're developing the relationship, okay? Again, it's easy to target. You can go online and find out who is the CEO or the owner of any company you want. It's easy. And then you can start to call, right? You're going right to that person. This is where it's helpful to send them a postcard, a letter, a little greeting card beforehand, just to sort of introduce yourself and warm up that cold call a little bit, right? But it's easy to get right to the person that you want to talk to, if you can get to them. That's a big question mark, and that's difficult. There are many lists available. You can go and rent lists. You can get lists free from the library of different, different people in different organizations, and you can just Google stuff. It's very, very, very easy to get right to the person you want to talk to. But you need to have some thick skin, and you really need to be persistent, because it's hard to get the person on the phone. Once you get them on the phone, it's great, but it's hard to get them on the phone. A lot of people, you go right to voicemail. Okay, now tool number 7, advertising. Okay, advertising is all about repetition. Right? It needs to be noticeable and memorable and even wacky. When you're watching TV, right, it's all about silly songs. There's geckos, ostriches, there's Flo selling insurance. It's all silly stuff, isn't it? I mean, like, really, a gecko? Who even thought of that? Lots of times I'm watching TV commercials and I'm like, wow, did somebody get paid to do this? But they're doing it because it works. You're noticing it, right? You're remembering it. So make your advertising, and I'm not saying you have to have an ostrich, but try to make it memorable, try to make it different, try to make it stand out, okay? Advertising typically doesn't have an offer. There's no 20% off if you call today, none of that. It's just about the message, right? Advertising is just about getting your name in front of people. You know how they say you have to be introduced to somebody 7 times before they remember you? Advertising helps this, gets your name out there. They're going to remember you. You wouldn't necessarily, I say to my clients, you're going to send out a postcard maybe. You're not going to get a purchase from the postcard the first time. You put an ad in a magazine, you're not going to get a purchase from that. You have to do it repeatedly. And hopefully over time, they're going to remember you. And when they need your product, oh yeah, right, there's that printing company in Newark. Yeah, they'll think of you. Right? And marketing in general is all about that. You got to get to them lots of different ways, be in front of them, be memorable, top of mind, right? And advertising is a good way to do it. Advertising, however, can be expensive. You want to be careful with it and see if there's ways you can do it without spending too much money, but putting ads in magazines can get very, very expensive. And it's hard to measure because it's just repeat viewing. Oh, I saw this ad about this printing company. 3 months later, they may buy printing from me. But I don't know, it's because they saw my ad 5 times, right? So it's a sort of a leap of faith. But it does work. I mean, that's why people are doing it. Oh, okay, so I have an example of advertising, right? I don't know about you guys, but I see this off the turnpike, off the parkway, this ad all the time. I know who this guy is, but I remember him because it's just his name. It's like, wow, there's no phone number. There's no website. It's all about repetition. He's got 4, 5, 6, he's got them all over the place. And he's spending a fortune to do this. But I mean, when I need a lawyer and I Google lawyers in New Jersey to try to find one, his name is going to come up and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, oh, I think I know this guy. I think this guy must be good. I recognize his name. Yeah. So there's an example of advertising. Okay, let's talk about trade shows and events. These are great. These really are great. Think about it, right? You can go to a trade show that is filled with your target market of potential customers, right? If you're selling widgets and you go to a widget show, right? Whatever it is, you can get right in front of your customers. So it's very, very effective, and you get face-to-face exposure. Wow, right? They're gonna meet you, get to know you right away. You get to do a little intro, build a relationship. Right away, people are gonna be walking around the trade show floor, and they're all potential customers for you. How juicy is that? Okay, the event fee might even include advertising. They might put your name of your company, a little ad maybe in the journal, or maybe they'll put it up on any kind of visuals they may have, signage. That's great, right? Get your name out there. Sometimes you can even get a list of attendees, but that's unusual. But if you can, what are you going to do with that list of attendees? You're going to put it in your database, right? Start emailing them, start getting to know them, start calling them, use that database to market. This is why whenever you go to a trade show, people have the ever-present fishbowl of business cards. And oftentimes they'll have, contest. Put your card in the fishbowl. I'm going to pick somebody out and they're going to get, a Starbucks gift card, or they're going to get a laptop or whatever, right? But you have to put the card in the fishbowl. Why are they doing that? They're building their database. Right? They're going to add all those cards to their database and market and promote to them. This is also why people always have candy out. This is also why people have bags. You can go in and pick up a plastic bag. They're just trying to get you to come in and chat with them. That's all. And if you are in a trade show and you have your table and you're talking to people, getting them to come in, again, don't sell. Build the relationship. Say hello. How's the show going? How you doing? What's new? Tell me about yourself. Get them to talk. Okay. And sometimes trade shows are very, very cost effective. Lots of times you can get a table at a trade show for a couple $100. So think about it, a couple $100. You're in front of all your customers with face-to-face time. You're building your database. Wow. Very, 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 very effective. Very good thing to do if you can. Sometimes, however, they're really expensive and the trade show wants a couple $1,000. So, that's up to you. Lots of times people have an offer at a trade show. So you can get this special package. I'm a printer. You can get 500 business cards for free, right? But you have to order, within a week. You'll get 500 that you pay for, 500 for free. Offer ends in a week. Right? A lot of people do offers. Again, it's another way to just sort of get people to give you information, get them talking, and try to get some business going. Guerrilla marketing. A lot of people have never heard of guerrilla marketing, but it's everywhere, okay? It has an element of surprise, or it's unconventional, something that is out of the ordinary. It can be very, very cost effective. It can be free even, but it requires some imagination. It's different. So some examples of that, viral videos. People do these crazy videos and they go viral and sell tons of stuff, but it has to be something different, unusual, unconventional, something that people are really going to look at. Flash mobs. Imagine if you're at a trade show and you hire a whole bunch of your friends to run in wearing t-shirts with the name of your company, wearing hats with the name of your company, holding signs with the name of your company, and run all around the trade show floor. That's a flash mob. It's certainly going to get you attention. It may not cost a lot to do. Kind of an interesting thing, right? Free stuff is also a different type of guerrilla marketing, right? People give out bags at trade shows, they give stuff out, they give out pens, all kinds of stuff, right? That's a form of guerrilla marketing. It's a way to get word out about your business. Some guerrilla marketing, though, is really, really amazing. This is an example that I love, right? There is no guy underneath that drain, right? It's a sticker that somebody put on the floor that makes it look like somebody's underneath that drain. Would you stop and look at that? Imagine if it has the name of your company down on the bottom, really, bigger than that, I think, or written on his hands, the name of your company. How much attention would you get? Everybody would look at that. I would look at that. How cool would that be, right? Amazing, very, very, very creative. The best guerrilla marketing is just really creative. Another example that I love, How cool is that, right? It's like this whiteout thing right by the stripes on the sidewalk. So it looks like the whiteout painted the stripes on the sidewalk. Now that would be a really hard thing to do. You'd probably have to get permission and it's going to be expensive and all that stuff. But how creative is that, right? I mean, if you think about your environment and how to get your message across, super effective, isn't it? Another form of guerrilla marketing is all the signs that you see up, right? Ugly houses. It's guerrilla marketing. They're getting their message out all over the place. Or standing outside of a train station and handing out flyers. Or this one I hate, but people do it a lot, putting flyers underneath windshield wipers on cars. I hate that one, but that's also guerrilla marketing. So it's different ways to get to, it's not unconventional ways to get to your target market. Alrighty, my favorite, networking. And networking is my favorite for a reason, because it has been extremely effective for me in my career and in growing my businesses. Because you're going somewhere and you're meeting people, right? Very, very powerful. It's cost effective, so you pay lunch. You got to eat lunch anyway, right? But it's all about the follow-up. People think that they go to lunch and you meet the person on your right and you meet the person on your left, and I did my networking. That's only the beginning, right? It's all about the follow-up. If you're just going, eating lunch, saying, talking to people next to you, you're not really networking, you're having lunch, right? It's about the follow-up and building your database. So follow-up would mean sending them an email afterwards. It was so nice to have lunch with you. Let's have coffee, build the relationship, right? Give them a phone call. You might even take something that happened at the lunch, make sure you're listening and paying attention. Again, they're talking more than you are, right? So the person you're sitting next to and networking with should be doing most of the talking, not you. Get up and get out, right? You will be working on your business, not in your business, right? Working on your business. So it's great to be sitting at your computer, answering your emails and answering the phone, and you're busy working in your business. But that's not going to grow your business. Get up, get out, go to a networking event. That's working on your business, building relationships with people. And it's not who you meet, but it's who they know. Once you build the relationships with the people that you met at your networking events, it's not just them. It's their husbands, their uncles, their aunts, their sisters, their business associates, their cousins. It's everybody, right? I'm very involved in an organization called NJABA, the New Jersey Association of Women Business Owners. And I got very friendly with a coach. And coaches don't do a lot of printing, they do business cards, right? But I got friendly with her, we built the relationship, she got to know me. She introduced me to her daughter-in-law, who manages 5 medical offices. She's the business manager. She buys all the printing. She turned into a great customer, one of my best, all through networking. And the person I was talking to, I never realized could be such a potential source of a customer, great customer for me. So, build those relationships, get to know people. You never know who knows who. Oh, and get involved, right? So join a committee. It's not that big a deal, right? Join a committee. You're working on your business. People often say to me, oh, I don't have time for that. Then you're saying you don't have time to work on your business. You don't have time to grow your business. Because getting on a committee is how you build relationships with people, right? So get on the marketing committee, get on the membership committee is always great because you're meeting lots of people. Join a committee, get involved, work your way up. Getting on the board is always great because it gives you, a lot of clout and authority. Oh, I'm on the board. It's a great thing to put on the bottom of your signature, your emails. Oh, I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, right? These are things that will help you grow your business. Get on out there. And you know what? It's fun. You got to eat lunch anyway. Okay, so networking how-tos, because networking is my favorite. And it's pretty low cost, right? You have to look at networking that it's a job and there's a process, right? When you go to a networking event, don't hang out with your friends. So many people are guilty of that. They go in the corner and stand and talk to the people they already know. Don't do that. This is your job, right? What I like to do is I find somebody who's standing by themselves. I'm by myself, they're by themselves. I go on over and talk to them. It's pretty easy. It's going to be much harder to get into a group, right? So go talk to somebody who's standing by themselves. They're probably playing on their phone, and compliment them. If it's a guy, I often say, you know, that's a great tie. I love that tie. Then the next thing you know, they tell you that they got it for Father's Day, and they start talking about the kids. Perfect. Perfect, right? That's building the relationship. Or if it's a woman, I often will compliment the color. Oh, that is such a pretty color on you. And I don't lie, I mean it. I pick something out that I think is nice. And I just get the conversation going. It's very easy. You know, starting out the conversation with how are you is a dead end. It's, you know, it's a closed question, right? Oh, fine. Well, that's not a conversation starter. Asking a question like, oh, you know, what did you do today? Right? What was a big challenge you faced today? That's better. It's an interesting question, right? Just asking how your day isn't going to do it. And your job is to listen. You'll notice a pattern here that I keep talking about, right? Your job is to listen, 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 not talk, 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 right? You're building the relationship. Okay, now let's get on to the big scary budget, okay? A budget is a planning tool, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It's not a big deal. It's a planning tool. And the most important thing about the budget is to put aside some money. $100, $200, whatever you can afford, but put something aside, right? This money here is earmarked for marketing, and I'm going to use it for marketing. I may decide to purchase some pens to give out. I may decide to do an ad. I may hire somebody to do a certain amount of social media. I might invest it in my website, but you have to have some money to put aside for marketing, no matter how little it is, right? Maybe it's money you put aside to pay for lunches at networking events, right? But you have to plan for it. It's not going to just fall into your lap. You have to think about it and plan for it. Okay, and budgets don't have to be complicated. Budgets, when you're budgeting for something that you're spending money on, like you wanted to do EDDM, every door direct mail, or a postcard campaign, the budget's easy. You ask your vendor. They'll tell you all about it, right? If you want to do social media, ask the person you're using to help you with that. That's one of the reasons it's really good to use consultants to help you. They'll help you with the budget. They know what things cost. There will be no surprises, right? Now, a standard budget, I'm not going to go into excruciating detail on this, but generally, your budget, your first line on the budget is your sales. How many units or hours times the price. Okay. Then you've got the cost underneath that. So if you're selling 100 units, this is your sales dollars, 100 times $10, right? And your product cost is whatever the cost is times your 100. Then list your marketing costs, whatever it is you're going to do. Your printing, your advertising, your freebies, what you have to pay for your consultant, your vendor. And what's left after that is your profit. That's it. Your sales, your cost, your marketing cost, and your profit. Okay. Then there's all kinds of other costs that might happen. You have to pay rent, stuff like that. Maybe you have employees, whatever. And that's net profit, but that's more complicated. Yeah. You know, to start, you don't really need to worry too much about that. I just want to spend a minute talking about pricing, especially if you're in a service-oriented business, right? If you're selling widgets or business cards, it's pretty easy to figure out your pricing. You know what your cost is, you know how much you want to make, you build some stuff in. But when you're in a service-oriented business, pricing is much harder to figure out, okay? Sometimes it's helpful to scout out the competition and see what they're pricing themselves as, but I wouldn't marry myself to that. You might have better quality, right? Or you might want to be less expensive if you're positioning yourself on price, right? But most important, don't underestimate yourself, right? This is a huge problem, especially for women in business. They underestimate and they undercharge, right? So you want to get what you're worth. Don't be afraid to price yourself fairly. And don't negotiate yourself into a position where you're losing money. You know, as a printer, I would often have people come to me and say, well, I can buy those business cards for 20 bucks. And, you know, I would say, go for it, have fun. Yep, you can go on Vistaprint, you can get them for 20 bucks, you'll get them. And if you have a problem, there's nobody to call. I'm going to help you. I'm going to make sure your product looks good. I'm going to make sure your business cards are right. If you have a problem, you call me, the owner, right? There's a cost involved for all that stuff. I never positioned myself on pricing. It wasn't what I did. Okay. So bear in mind that you get what you pay for. If you're going cheap, you can't go back to the 3 elements we talked about. If you're going to be a reduced price, you cannot give them the best quality and the best service. You will go out of business. And if you're in a service organization, you need to make sure that you are factoring in all your costs. You're spending time on this. There's phone calls involved. You have to prepare whatever it is you're doing. You might have some overhead, right? Somebody has to pay for the lights. Even if you're working at home, right? There's a piece of your rent that has to get paid for. Factor in all your costs. Do not underestimate yourself. Do not underprice. You will go out of business. And that is not a good thing, right? Okay, now we're going to talk about a marketing plan, right? You already have your budget. You put aside a little bit of money. Now, what am I going to do with this money? How am I going to market myself? You've already got your list of all the tools we talked about. You have to pick a couple to try. Okay, keep track of what you're doing. I'm going to help you with an easy marketing plan to do that. Many people think easy marketing plan is an oxymoron like jumbo fish or jumbo shrimp, but I'm going to really give you an easy marketing plan. Okay, it's going to help you keep track of what you're doing. It's going to help you plan. Lots of times people jump to jump to jump to jump. I'm doing this today. This is what I'm doing. Oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. You have to think ahead, especially if your business is seasonal in any way. If Christmas is a big deal for your business, you really want to plan ahead. It helps you track what's working and what's not. You can keep notes on your file. And you have historical data year over year. Ooh, when did I do that? Did I do that last year or was that the last year before? Should I try that again? Have I done it recently? So it's going to help you compare year to year to year and have this historical information right there. So I think I need a drum roll. Here is your easy marketing plan. Okay. And this is it. This is all you need. Simple Excel spreadsheet. Up on top, you have your months. Especially helpful to plan holidays, right? So you might want to do something special for Women's Month. You might want to do something special for Black History Month. You want to keep an eye on when Christmas is. You can really plan what you're doing around holidays. Okay. Now down the left side are all the tools in the toolbox, right? So you can pick what you want to work on. You can pick what months you're going to promote them in. Okay, you can spread them out or clump them together, whatever you want. But it's a great planning tool. So what you want to do and what months you're doing them in. And I've put together your website, right? You want to pay attention to your website. Once you get your website really up and going and you are adding pages and making it more sophisticated, you want to change it up. You want to have different messages. You might have banner things going on. You can make it more sophisticated. Again, you don't want to start with that. You just want to have a simple website to start. But as you go, you should be improving it. Your website isn't one and done. It's something that you keep working on. Okay? You can get lots of analytics about your website. What pages are they going to? How many people are unique visitors? How long are they spending on a page? There's tons of information to help you fine-tune your website as you go. I have blog underneath the website. You want to make sure if you're writing a blog that it goes there. Okay. Next is social media. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time tracking what I'm doing and when in social media. This is super helpful. I can list Facebook, what I did in LinkedIn, what I'm doing. And if I have a TikTok thing happening, not me, but okay. You can track everything. And you can even put results there, how many clicks you got, all that stuff, right, into this Simple spreadsheet. Email blasts and blogs, right? Remember, I've got blogs with the email too. If you're writing a blog, you're putting it on your website, you're putting it in your email, you're using that content over and over, you're putting it in your social media. So you can track when you're sending out your email, how many clicks you got, what percentage you got response, all tracking right here in this spreadsheet. Then you've got your direct mail, your PR, your telemarketing, prospecting, and telemarketing to your current customers. Note, those are two different things. Lots of people do cold calling, telemarketing to prospects, right? I met you at a networking event, I'm gonna follow up, invite you to have coffee. But you should be calling your current customers as well. Not only should be calling them, you should be sending them little love notes, right? So I get my little cards with my logo on it, fold over like greeting cards. And my best customers, I make sure to send them a card at least once a year, thanking them for their business, or a letter, right? If you have a great customer, you want to make sure you thank them. I would send them something. And you can track your telemarketing, your advertising, your trade shows, right? That's great to be able to track based on month, because different trade shows happen at different times of year. And you want to plan those out, because if you're doing a trade show, you may need to get some stuff for that trade show, right? You got to get pens with the name of your company on it. You might have to order plastic bags. You might need some banners to hang up. You're certainly going to need some business cards and flyers to give out. So placing what trade shows you're going to go to or what events you might attend in their months will help you plan in advance so that you're not calling your printer the week before the trade show and needing all this stuff really fast, right? Plan in advance. Some other things that you can track on this nifty, easy marketing plan. Cross-selling is another thing you should be thinking about in marketing. What is cross-selling? Cross-selling is selling additional things to your existing customers. Pay attention to your existing customers, right? They're such an important piece of your business. Why would you ignore them? So for printing, if you're buying business cards from me, I'm going to want to sell you flyers, maybe presentation folders. Maybe you need signs. Maybe you need stuff for your office. So think about your existing customers and what else you can sell them. Referrals. I haven't gone into detail about this, but a lot of people set up a referral program. So if you ask your best customers who love you, right? Oh, by the way, do you know anyone who might need my services? Right? That's a great way to get customers. It's also known as word of mouth. And you can do that online too. You can send your customers a little email asking them to give you a review in Google. That also would fall under testimonials. Don't forget to ask your best customers who love you for testimonials. It's easy, it's simple, send them an email. You can have one email that you send to all your customers. You don't have to make it up every time. Just asking them for a testimonial, simple stuff, right? 3 sentences, it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be complicated. Remember, I'm all about simple. Following up. So you've got all the tools in your toolbox. You gotta follow up. Right? You may want to put an hour aside a week to follow up with people. Partnerships and affiliate programs. You might want to partner up with people who are in similar industries but aren't competitors, or perhaps even are competitors but offer something different, right? So for me, as a printer, right, graphic designers were a great partner for me because they needed to get their stuff printed. Right? Even though I had graphic designers on staff, a graphic designer outside was a good partner for me. Right? Or another printer who might have a piece of equipment that I didn't have. And I could send business their way, and they could send business my way. So think about who your potential partners are, who you could have affiliate programs with. And don't forget signage. If you have bricks and mortar, you have a store, a retail store, you have a great opportunity to put signs in your window. Put signs everywhere, right? You want to make sure that people see you. There's something called the sandwich board, A-frames, you can put right outside. They stand right on the sidewalk. Take them in at night, put it out the next day. Make sure that people can see your store. Signage is super important. Putting magnets on your car is another way to do signage, even if you don't have brick and mortar, right? But big magnet advertising, I don't know about you, but when I'm driving around, I see, I read what's on people's cars. Okay, right? Again, it's just another form of advertising. So this is available to you guys. I'm happy to send you guys this marketing plan. Just ask for it and you can just fill it out. Okay, some other things to consider. Certification. Certification is an amazing tool. You might be a minority-owned business, a women-owned business, a small business enterprise, an 8A program, or a veteran. Getting certified can help you get business. We talked earlier on about your unique selling proposition. Being certified is definitely a unique selling proposition, right? It separates you from your competition, gives you credibility, okay? Many municipalities, counties at this point, are doing disparity studies, meaning, and actually the state is doing a disparity study, meaning that they do all of this research into how much business goes to minorities, how much business goes to women-owned businesses, and they are going to measure that. And they will eventually come up with targets that they want to hit. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 20%, because they're seeing they only do 2% business with women-owned businesses, and they're 20% of the businesses in the world are women-owned. So there's a disparity there, okay? Hudson County is all about that. Bergen County is doing it now, and the state is doing it. Disparity studies lead to set-asides. A set-aside is where a municipality or maybe even the state sets aside money that they are going to give to a minority business, a women business, maybe a veteran-owned business specifically. So if you're not an MBA, a WBE, you can't bid on that project. It narrows down the competition, eliminates a lot of competition. So it's a great thing to get. I consider it an insurance policy, right? It's something you want to get and have so that when you get the phone call from a corporation looking for certified businesses, and there's lots of them, by the way, PSE&G is always looking to do business with certified businesses. There's lots of Port Authority, NJ Transit, all look to do business with certified businesses. You get the phone call, hi, I'm big business 1234. Are you certified? I want to give you a contract for $50,000. You want to be able to say, yes, I'm certified. You can't say, oh, I'm not certified, but I'm going to go get certified. That doesn't work. Think about certification. If you're qualified, MBE, WBE, SBE, get certified, okay? The SBDC has webinars all about this. Go to the website and you can go to training and you can see all of the different webinars, and several of them are targeted for how to get certification, how to do business with the state, how to do business with large companies. It's really important, so find out about it if you're in this category. And corporate messaging. Keep in mind, I talked about it a little bit, but if you want to go for the big guys, if you want to do corporate marketing, certification is really helpful there. And it's a different message that you're sending out. You need to have a capabilities statement, right? Which is different than your normal flyer. It's specific, it's one page, it's short, sweet, and to the point, and it gives large corporations the information they need quickly, because these guys don't have time. Let's talk about capability statement. These are the things you need in your capability statement. Usually put a photo on there so they know who you are. I don't know about you, but when I meet somebody, 2 minutes later, I forget who they are. So having a photo is helpful. Or your contact info, your website. They're going to look at your website, summary of your business, what your capabilities are. They may want to know your facilities, any equipment you have, your areas of expertise, your key customers. Any referral contacts, you have to ask for permission to give them referrals. So if I'm trying to get business with NJ Transit, I'm going to ask PSE&G, do you mind if I use you as a referral? They're going to want to know your NAICS and CAGE codes. That's a whole nother discussion. But once you certify, you'll need to get those. It just identifies what business you're in. You'll need a D&B number, okay? And your certifications will be right on that capability statement. If you Google capability statement, lots of templates will come up that you can follow. Very, very easy. But if you're going for corporate, you have to have a capability statement. Okay, now let's just talk about sales for a minute, because it's part of marketing. Marketing leads to sales, we hope, right? You're developing a relationship. I have talked about that. I'm getting a little blue in the face, but I can't stress how much that's so important. Okay, when I do a sales call, I usually mention something in the office. This is especially easy if there's pictures. Ooh, what a cute kid, right? Or they like a certain color, or they have something unusual, a vase, something. Oh, that is so pretty. Where'd you get that? Get the conversation flowing. Let them do the talking. Look them in the eye and smile a lot. Listen, listen, and listen. We've talked about that. Then ask some questions and listen some more. Right? They should be doing 80 to 90% of the talking, not you. And this is a pet peeve of mine, if I may. A firm handshake. If we ever shake hands again, we might go to the bump, so I don't know. But please have a firm handshake. It's awful when you go to shake somebody's hand and they're all wishy-washy. Give them a good handshake, look them in the eye, and smile. It's super important. It's the first thing you're going to do when you meet somebody. So it will lead to the first impression, right? Test it out, try it out, practice. It may sound silly, but it's important. All righty. I talked about a whole bunch of training sessions that you can go to. They're mostly free or nominal, and they're a great way for you to learn about how to grow your business and different things. You can go to RN, it's up here in the corner, RN, Rutgers-Newark, SBDC, Small Business Development Center.com under training. You could do the first one is the webinar that we're doing just right now. But there's tons of great webinars on how to do a website and how to be certified, how to grow your business, how to do your finances. It's an amazing resource. So I certainly encourage everybody to go to this website and go to some webinars. And also up here, Takoa was talking about it, is how you can request counseling. That's another great thing. It's usually free. And you can request counseling with an expert for free. Works great, right? Okay. I think that's about it for me. I hope you've gotten a lot of good information out of here. I hope you've taken some notes and are going to try a few things. This was Marketing 101. My name's Holly Kaplansky. And if you have any questions, I think this would be the time.
Yes, thank you so much, Holly, for that presentation. So at this time, we will be taking questions. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so that our contact information is on the screen there. But feel free to post your questions in the Q&A feature or in the chat. We do have about 13 more minutes, I believe. So we have more than enough time to go through your questions. If you have any concerns, feel free to post that now and we'll go ahead and answer your question. No questions?
I see a question online. Can you get a certification if you own a nonprofit? I don't know the answer to that question. I would suggest attending one of the certification webinars. That would be a good question to answer them. I would think it has to do with what your nonprofit is. I think it's more about, I mean, you can get some, getting a certification gives you some, authority and some, makes you real. But I think it depends more upon what your product is and who you might sell it to.
Okay, and I'm also seeing a question about the recording. So yes, everyone will be receiving the video replay as well as the slides within 24 to 48 hours. So don't worry about that. You'll receive all that information within 1 to 2 days.
And Takoa, I will send you the easy marketing plan. And if you wouldn't mind distributing that as well. I think
Okay,
it's a
great.
Great tool.
Okay, great. I'll add that into that email. Thank you.
Great. Please comment on spend on advertising as percentage of sales. I'm not quite sure I understand the question. Oh, wait, expected spend on advertising as a percentage of sales. That's all over the place. There's really no formula for that. You might do advertising and it might be very effective, but you don't get any sales specifically at that time. It may take time. It may require follow-up. I don't think there's any formula in the world that says this is the percentage of sales you're going to get because you did this advertising. Some of it is just a leap of faith, and you do advertising to get your name out there, and you also market using some of the other tools that we've talked about. But I don't think there's any expected percentage that you can get. And I think it differs depending upon the type of advertising you're doing, what the media is you're using, what your business is. It's not that simple. Oh, nice comments in the chat. Thank you all for the nice comments. Yeah, trade shows, that's a good point. Trade shows are virtual now. It's really hard. I got to tell you, I think you're just going to have to be patient and wait till we go face to face. PSE&G has been doing a virtual expo, and you can literally go into the little booths virtually and talk to somebody in the booth. It's tough. People don't necessarily stop in your little virtual booth easily. You can't give out candy in plastic bags. So I'm just going to say that that is a downfall, yet another downfall of this pandemic. And it makes it harder to do business because I don't know about a virtual trade show. Good. Okay. So many people have said this has been helpful. I'm so glad. Thank you. And I'm also a counselor at the SBDC, and you can go to that little red button if anybody wants to spend some more time with me or has any specific questions very specific to their business.
Right, so if anyone here is located within Essex County and you're interested in having a one-on-one counseling session with Holly, you can feel free to raise your hand here on Zoom. So there's a button that says raise hand. Go ahead and click on that button, and I'll go ahead and make that appointment or make the note to make the appointment with you and Holly. So you can either raise your hand now, or you can go ahead and go on our website, www.rnsbdc.com. Click on that button as Holly had mentioned and showed you all to go ahead and click create that appointment with you and Holly. Okay, so I'm seeing 2 here, great. Great, and again, our consultations are at no cost to you, so I do strongly advise taking advantage of that if you're within Essex County. And if you're not in Essex County, you could visit our headquarters website, njsbdc.com, and reach out to your local SBDC office. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and paste something in the chat. You'll be seeing some of our upcoming webinars, workshops, and at the bottom, once you see it, I also did include the 2 contracting webinars Holly did mention there. So directly after this webinar, we are having our Preparing for PPP Loan Forgiveness webinar. So if you received the SBA PPP loan and you want to learn how to position your business to maximize the amount of loan forgiveness you can receive, then this webinar is definitely for you. So the link there to register is the Rutgers Zoom link. Feel free to click on that, and you'll be able to join us later at 3 p.m. And also in the chat there, I have our social media, website social media and analytics workshop, which Holly also did mention. So that's a 9 to 5 workshop. So it's longer than our typical 90 minutes webinars, which will give you a lot more information, and it's a little bit more hands-on, our workshop. So feel free to register for that as well. It's a really great one that we offer as well. Okay, and these webinars are only just a handful of the webinars and workshops that we're hosting this year. We have many other webinars and topics ranging from financing, marketing, access to capital, credit counseling, cybersecurity. We have some human resourcing one, managing your business, and so forth. So please feel free to visit our website or our Eventbrite page, and you will definitely find a webinar or workshop that best fits your needs, your business needs. Okay, so after this webinar has ended, in your browser, you should see a survey pop up. Now that survey will help us to adjust our presentations in the future, as well as give us some information on the type of assistance you may be needing for your business. So that'll only take a minute or 2. So if you have that time to complete that, your feedback is very much appreciated. I do want to remind you all again that you will be receiving the video replay and the slides within 24 to 48 hours. So you'll have all that in a few days. Okay, and on that note, I will now go ahead and end this webinar. I want to say thank you to Holly for sharing your expertise with us again. And thank you to all of our attendees for taking the time out to attend and participate and ask your question in today's webinar. And we look forward to seeing you all at our future webinars and workshops. Have a great day, everyone.